Hi there and welcome to this week's edition of your Wheel and Anchor weekly newsletter. I've set off on a bit of a road trip to South Thailand where I'm exploring some destinations that we might include in our upcoming Koh Samui LiveAways program. And I found myself here. This is one of the most famous scenes in Thailand. I'm here in the Phi Phi Islands, which is an archipelago that's in between Phuket and Krabi on the mainland. And this particular group of islands was made famous by two things. First of all, in 2004, of course, that devastating tsunami in the Indian Ocean that ripped through the entire coastline, the entire west coast of Thailand, including here in Phi Phi Island, and basically devastated much of that isthmus that you see down below me. Of course, it's all been restored, and in ordinary times, tourism is thriving here. And of course, the other thing that this particular area is famous for, if you look off in the distance, you see Maya Island, where, of course, Leo DiCaprio filmed the famous movie The Beach, which is what really brought tourism en masse to this part of the world. Of course, now with COVID, there's hardly anything going on here. We're one of the few tourists that are visiting here, and so I'm actually quite delighted to be able to see this spectacular scenery and have it practically all to myself. We had a very successful webinar, as you know, week before last, about our LiveAway Koh Samui program. And in fact, we've had already well over 20 of our members sign up for that trip. And if you didn't get a chance to see that, you can tune in to the replay of our webinar, which the link to that is in the blog below. But I wanted to take a moment and answer a few of the questions that came in on the webinar and subsequent to that, just to give you a sense of what the program is all about. So one of the questions came in was, how do we get around in Koh Samui? Will we have a driver, or do we have to drive ourselves? Well, you certainly don't have to drive yourself. In fact, we're going to have a dedicated van that is going to be with us for the entire trip, and it will enable us to go on the different excursions, but also be available to take us to different parts of the island to do some beach walks and hikes or out to dinner, as the case may be. And so I think it's a great way to have some flexibility without having to drive yourself, because of course here in Thailand we drive on the left side of the road, so that might be inconvenient for some of you. Of course, you do have the opportunity to rent a car if you so desire. Another question which is quite opportune is, will we see the famous Phang Nga Bay? Well, in fact, this is it. This is part of what is known as Phang Nga Bay, and it is known for the incredible limestone mountains that pop up out of the sea. It's likened to Guilin in China, for those of you that may have visited that. And so I'm looking at including Phang Nga and the Phi Phi Islands here in our program. Someone else asked about how the internet connection is. Well, I can honestly say that the internet connection here in Thailand is in fact as good, or in most cases actually better than at home in Canada. So I use mobile data often for our webinars and Zoom calls, so you can get a sense of how fast and how reliable the internet is. So no worry about staying connected, or for those of you that still have a bit of work to do, absolutely no problem. Then another question came in about what is the capacity of the group. Well, that all depends on how many rooms that we can secure in the beautiful hotel that we have. I would imagine at this point we could probably accommodate as many as 50 people. But of course, we don't do things as a group. That's what makes our LiveAway program a bit different. All of our activities are done in groups of 10 or around 10. And so even though we might be a larger group coming to visit, it'll enable us to meet up with a whole bunch more different members, connect with people, have some fun, go out for dinner, but at the same time have the small group experience of touring around. So I would expect and hope that we will have 50 or 60 people joining us on our trip to Koh Samui. Then another one of our members asked about hiking, and I know that we have quite a few people who are very interested in staying active while on holiday. And the beautiful thing about Koh Samui, much like here, is that there are some quite high mountains. There's some untouched jungle, and so we will definitely be doing some hikes up to the jungle. There's some beautiful waterfalls, and of course we'll be walking along those long stretches of sandy beach lined with coconut trees. So we'll make sure that you have enough to do and keep you busy. Then finally, somebody asked a question about bugs and mosquitoes. Being a tropical place, of course, there are definitely little creatures that roam around, mosquitoes being one of them. Luckily, malaria is not much of an issue here in South Thailand, but there are some other things that you could catch in theory. But compared to being at home, whether in Ontario or in the forests of BC or Alberta or out east, the mosquitoes here are there's far fewer of them. There's far less density of them. So although it's possible to get a bite here or there, we'll definitely make sure that you are equipped with the proper spray to keep them away. And just like at home, they usually only come out at dusk. So it's really not too much of a big issue. I think I can count about 20 mosquito bites in the 11 months that I've been hanging out here. So as I say, if you want to find out more about Koh Samui, Thailand, and our LiveAway program next January, then please do join us, do tune into the replay of the webinar, which the link to which is in the blog below. And of course, our second LiveAway program is going to be launched this coming Thursday on the 18th of February, and that is to Madeira, Portugal. That is another beautiful island, or it's actually an archipelago in the Atlantic Ocean off of Africa. And so that is happening this Thursday at 11 a.m. Please do join us for that. We also have a great response, and I'm very excited to share with you a little bit about that wonderful Portuguese outpost of Madeira. So I look forward to catching up with you again next week as I continue my travels around South Thailand, and I wish you all the best. I know things are starting to show signs of improvement, and certainly the optimism for travel in the not too distant future is there. So all the best, and we'll see you next week.